and welcome to ESC. No, not my own evil short-ass conquest. It's the Extreme Scrutiny Club, where every 2 weeks each of your hosts brings a robot to the table, and we vote as a collective on whether it should be immortalised in the arena, or should be stamped down into the Pit of Oblivion, my personal favourite place. We are your hosts.
Hello, I am the Empress Reira. I like green dome robots.
Hi, I'm Oliver, the evil dork.
And I'm the orc Mitch, who likes splattering said green dome robots with nice big hammers.
Fuck you!
Excuse me, I am trying to do an intro here. You don't get to say fuck you just yet. Today's theme is Chinese robots. Quite an interesting thing, I'd say, honestly.
Delicious.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to bring attention to some of the Chinese robots, because not everybody watches King of Bots, and I know you two have had to do a bit of research.
Can we do King of Bots style editing for this episode and just have me saying, can we have King of Bots? Can we have King of Bots? Can we have King of Bots style? And don't forget, of course, that we then need to put a Megalovania remix and the Metal Gear exclamation mark noise.
Pacific Rim theme.
Yeah.
The Pacific Rim theme needs to be at the start of the episode.
We should also probably explain that we're not alone. There's someone else here. He's been sat in the corner, eating things, glaring at us for the last 3 hours. We should probably let him talk.
Hello, my name's Charlie Hubbard. I think I host Good Robottal, but let's be real, people now know me more as that guy who's building every single Battlebot in the 2019 season in Robot RA2 to replicate as like this big mega game. It includes bots like, the newcomers Nelly, Deep Six, and I'm also going to be working on the big guys like Tombstone and Bite Force coming here soon. Side note also for people listening, I'm currently babysitting 2 pugs, so if you hear any barking or snoring in my audio, I apologize. Or if you like that, congratulations. Thank you. You're welcome.
Congratulations. If you like that, congratulations.
Another side note, Charlie. We've been doing some recording earlier tonight, and Sam Elliott, Mitch, Reira, and I, we've got a bit of a request for you. Could you put Mastiff from Extreme 1 in
I will
your
boot
RA2
you
Battlebots
out of the
pack?
Robottle Wars chat before you can even say oof.
Mastiff Massive!
Reira, listen closely, all right?
Okay, I'm listening.
I can delete Nelly right now.
No.
And I will say it's your fault.
No.
But Charlie, Mastiff.
I will delete Death Roll too, and I'll say it's your fault. You want to keep pushing me?
You know what? Okay, cool. It's not dead nor so.
How's Texas Twister coming along, Charlie?
It's almost done. I'm just needing to basically skin the disc and then send it over to one of my development crew to help out with finalizing it, and it should be done this weekend. The next up is going to be Uppercut and Wan Hu, a Chinese robot, but not one we're going to be talking about today, but still a very good one.
I'm going to lose us all our respect and just say, Uppercut, fist me harder, Robot Daddy.
Oh!
I mean, what?
Imagine Uppercut, but with penises. Sean Goodluck, 2019.
Why?
He did not say that! No!
Yes, he did.
Why?
Because it's Sean.
This is why we're never letting Sean on the podcast. Sean, if you're listening, you've been preliminarily banned from being on ESC.
It's okay, Sean. I'll sneak you on.
No. See, Sean has omnipotent powers. He will just project himself into this podcast. You cannot stop him. He is Thanos.
I mean, to be honest, Charlie's not wrong. Sean is... He's God. He's just amazing and sexy and... Oh, God! I want to eat him!
Well,
right, anyway.
Whoa.
No, now hang on. You were talking about Uppercut Me Harder, Daddy. What did you know? Actually, I'm not going to go into it.
As the female presence on this podcast, I feel implored to mention, no, stop that.
And on a bit of a side note, we're recording this late on the 19th of July, UK time. And I feel it's appropriate that we're around about the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11 and the American moon landing. And I think it's great that we've got an American on the podcast to discuss the robots of a communist country to celebrate the occasion.
And for once, not my communist country, because we don't fucking produce any robots. Up the Ukraine, yeah.
And also, my robot can send bots to the moon, but that's for later on.
But hang on, out of every American you could have picked, you picked Charlie. He's racist to orcs.
Oh,
Hey.
He's not nice. He picks up my size. He steps on my top hat, and he's not letting go of my leg. Let go.
Listen.
No, let
All
go.
right. You threatened my stance. All right. I am the RA2 god, and you
Wait,
dared
what
question my
stance?
power. You dared question my power.
But you misunderstand. I have the power here because we haven't even discussed this yet. I'm the referee for this episode, huzzah! Which means
Boo! Get off the field.
look. So this is orc rules. So basically, doesn't matter what you guys say. I get to decide if it goes in the pits or in the arena in the sky. I'm great, and everything I say is great per se. And B.
Per se. Sorry, what?
I give up. Right, okay. In all seriousness, I am here to make sure everyone's playing nice and not interrupting, and I'll be fact checking if I can.
What you're saying is you're here, I'm queer, and Charlie doesn't want to. That was a cheeky Simpsons reference.
He wants to go first, you horrible people.
I want to talk about mine so bad.
Right, go on.
So I have picked. We were told to go and find Chinese bots, and I will be very honest. The King of Bots and This Is Fighting Robots style of editing makes me slightly disorientated and nauseous. But I watched the start of this season of King of Bots, and I watched The Martian, and I'm about to gush at you for 3 minutes about how fucking cute it is.
Fantastic. So, are you ready to talk for 3 minutes about this robot?
I'm always ready to talk for 3 minutes about the Martian.
Very well. Your time starts now.
So, you boot up YouTube and you see that the new series of King of Bots has just started, and you go, ah, sweet! I'm halfway through watching Battlebots, but this gives me just a little bit of extra boost to go. And you go, ah, my eyes and my ears, everything hurts because Chinese editing is terrifying, and I'm sure it's perfectly fine and expected and normal in the country that it's from, but for this lowly British-raised Ukrainian gal, it's terrifying. And then you see them all over to a robot that looks like two of those like big chunky, like circular traffic barrel cones with a washing machine sat on top of it, and then a washing line that someone's hung some conkers off of. And you have to double take because you assume it's just a pile of scrap that someone's left in the corner, or some random household objects that have been strapped together with sellotape. And then it got in the ring. And holy fuck! The thing self-rights, the thing deals damage, the thing can just dominate. And those flamethrower hands are amazing. I love that it's cute, but the fact that it's cute and deadly means that this is fast becoming one of my. It's joining the DGS robots in the corner of robotics we call my children. I'm willing to open it up there. Like I'm gushing enough.
Well, there you go. You have time left, but if you're ready to open it up to debate, then I announce that the debate is open.
I guess I'll start off and just say, when I first saw this thing, I honestly was like, I was in awe because, like, I'll just go ahead and just like straight up say it, all right? Like, I don't have much to say as far as like debating why it shouldn't be here. Like, other than it's based off one fight, which I get it. You can't really determine a lot from a robot off one fight, but I think there's a time and place to where you just have to be like, okay, look, they're trying something completely off the wall here. Nothing like this has ever been done before. The closest thing I think of is like a Walden Overlord, but even then, and it's just so insane but glorious that I can't help but just love it on pure merit alone. I mean, that's really all I have to say. This thing's insane, but I love it. And I also may try to replicate it because I'm a sadist.
I love the fact that it actually, you bring up a Walden Overlord, and I was actually going to bring up the whole Rob Knight, because they've got a weird controller, like the Rob Knight Mortis controller. And when I saw that, I genuinely had to do a double take again, because what the fuck?
It's beautiful. I mean, yeah, I want to echo some of the things that Charlie has said. Fighting robots in China has been going, what, 5 years? Maybe about that amount of time? And the progress they've made in that time has been scary. They've gone from little sort of boxes on wheels to now they've got mad and crazy design. And yeah, China is kind of known for, or some parts of China at least, are known for just making straight up clones of Apollo, of Minotaur, and the like.
Tombstone.
Tomb clones, if you will.
There are so many tomb clones.
But yeah, what I'm saying is that they also have a very different culture to the West, and they approach things in a very different way. And yeah, while you've got some out and out rip-offs, you've also got some crazy and just outright odd designs that you would never get in the UK or in the US robotics scene because of the way that their culture is and the different sort of inspirations and so on that they draw from. You just get. I can't see this robot existing in any other competition except a Chinese one, King of Bots.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think all of the Chinese shows, I think, to be fair, I say Chinese shows, like, I think every Robot Combat show has their USP, has their sort of difference and craziness to it, but China took the crazy from Battlebots and Robot Wars, pinned them together, removed any like, sense of sanity, kicked it out the door, and then, like, I don't know, mailed that door to the other side of the universe, because holy fuck, Chinese shows, and to a degree, Chinese robots, are mad. So I had to pick the craziest one there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just, The Martian, you've got robots like Zooj, and I don't know half the names of the robots, and it's been a while since I've watched King of Bots 1 all the way through, but yeah, they just come up with completely mad and out there designs that nobody else would ever think to bring, and often they aren't effective against the current meta. Sometimes, like in the case of The Martian, I was surprised how well it did. It really put up a strong showing, and it also enables British bots like Spectre or American robots that's not necessarily using a design that is as strong, like the Crusher Spectre, but it gives it a chance to it also gives that a chance to fight completely weird and different designs in a different kind of meta in which it can be effective.
Absolutely.
I think that to say there is a meta the Chinese shows is being generous. Because every single show and every single year is crazier than the last.
Absolutely. But you gotta love a bit of craziness.
Absolutely. I will say the one last thing as well is I love to see unique forms of conveyance around the arena. Like, that genuinely always makes me happy. When I first saw my first ever tracked bot, when I first ever saw my first ever walker. This year on Battlebots, I'm seeing my first ever Mechanim wheels because chatter is crazy.
Well, which also debuted in King of Bots as blue with the same.
Oh, of course, yes. The bluest robot there. It was so blue.
Totally blue. 100% blue, everybody. Yeah.
Right? Right? Oh, I love the little crazy... Oh, they made a really pink bot. Let's call it blue. Mechanim wheels was crazy for me. And then to know that the Martian walks around on basically spinning electromagnets. It's definitely new.
Absolutely.
And this is what I was saying. You say it's generous to say there's a meta, and I think you're right in the sense that almost anything can go and succeed. It's almost like a completely open competition in terms of, it's like the early days of robot combat in the 90s and early 2000s, where people were still sort of feeling out what worked, except using modern technology. And I think that it's quite likely that China will end up settling on something completely different and new, as well as having all your wedges and spinners and all that kind of thing as they already do. But it wouldn't surprise me if this kind of backdrop will spawn something completely unexpected.
It makes me happy as well, because that robots sometimes suffer sort of UK, US, are able to go out to China and really show off their true form and succeed. The first one that comes to mind is O Thumper.
Oh yeah.
O Thumper is an amazing hammerbot, insanely good hammerbot that went out to China and fucking decimated. It did so well. But as we've seen countless times, to use that Al Kindle quote again, hammers are bad in the US and we should build them.
I mean, you've got to. It's quite a sacrifice to make, isn't it? Going from Battlebots to be successful with a hammer, but you're in the KFC death camps.
That's sweet Kentucky fried cruelty.
Oh, don't, you're making me hungry. Oh, I fancy some food now. I know I'm meant to be impartial here, I'm the judge, but hey, we've broke the rules slightly before, but can I just say, The Martian. Oh, it's so cute! I love it so much!
It's so fucking adorable.
It is. Oh, but go back to being impartial. Are we ready to cast our vote?
I'd say so.
I think there's only one place you can put it.
Well, where's that?
Martian to the arena. Martian to the arena.
Okay, so we got one vote for the arena. Who else? Who wants to go next? Oliver?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as I said, I've been quite complimentary of it, and yeah, it's a different design, and I was I was really excited, and yeah, it was really, really good to see how well it did. Yeah, it didn't win the fight, but it put on quite a show. Yeah, I'd love to see where they take this design. It's got so much potential, and it's so exciting and interesting and different. I think for that reason, just the sheer craziness, it's got to go to the arena in the sky.
And Charlie, what about you then?
Yeah, I'm just basically going to echo that. Like, like I said, it's only had one fight, so I know some people may be like, why are you putting it in the arena just on one fight alone? But I think for me, it's just more of the principle that it's something so wildly unique and we've never seen before, that the fact that it's A, works, B, looks as good as it does, and C, comes from a country who, as far as like the robot combat scene, has only been around for less than 10 years, is astonishing in so many ways that, yeah, I say put it in the arena.
That spinner is, like, mace spinner thing is surprising.
Yeah.
It looked like it was prepared to do a lot of damage to, is it Pixel Crusader?
I think it was Pixel Hunter. That's the name of it.
Pixel Hunter.
Pixel Hunter. So that is a 3-0 victory for the Martian.
Yeah,
and to be honest, if I'd been in place of one of you guys, I would have said the same thing, because good God, it is cute, it is unique, and yes, it's had one fight, but hey, it's out there. It's got so many weapons, but it combines cuteness with I can actually do something, and
it's got the fuck back up. It got the fuck back up from an amazing hit. Although, the one thing I will say about Pixel Hunter, if that is its name, is, why is it so slow? why are you so slow?
Bruv, why are you so slow?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't the most impressive spinner for it to face.
The sunglasses are near enough by. Friend, why so slow?
Well,
sorry, Agent Reira came out for a bit there. We had to contain her.
So we move on from the Martian, and I think, we should go for our guest next. Charlie, what have you brought to the table?
Okay, so I brought to the table Saber, specifically the 2019 version. So, yeah, I guess, like, I don't know, I guess, like, do I start being timed as soon as I start talking, or is it more of, like, I get ready myself up?
Mitch will give you your time starts now, then he's probably pressed the button, like, 15 seconds.
Yes. Now, remember, Charlie, I'm in charge here. There's no Robot Arena gods to help you, so I can be vindictive and secretly evil. So be nice. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Oliver, I'm gonna just quickly vote. Do a quick ESC vote. Can we tell Mitch to stop being so mean? I think we should tell Mitch to stop being so mean to our guests.
Hang on.
Please do not treat our guests like this, Mitchell. You will.
Fine.
Mitchell Orky Milbourne, you listen right here, young man.
Don't talk to me that way. I don't like it.
You will respect our guest, or detonator help me. I will come down on you like a shatter blow.
But detonator can't help you. It's been blotted into paste.
Fuck you.
I mean, am I?
So I heard there's a position available.
Charlie, are you ready for Reira Kills Me?
Yes.
Okay, your time starts now. Go.
Okay, so, right. When the first season of King of Bots came out, I know that there was a lot of hype behind the foreign teams, like your Vulcans and your Spectres and your Crossfires. But I remember early on, I saw this flipper that looked kind of Apollo-esque, but it had this really cool, almost like Legend of Zelda, Soul Calibur theme to it, and I heard it was Saber. And it actually did pretty dang well. Like, it didn't win, of course, but, you know, for a Chinese bot, especially like for their first time out, they did pretty dang well. They came back next time to TIFR with Saber 2, which took more of, I guess I'd say more like an Eruption-esque look to it, where it has like a flat top and then slopes down. It didn't do as well. And then I heard rumblings about a new one, a third version, based off their featherweight Saber X. And when I saw the renders and first photos of this, I immediately fell in love. It's so unique. It's so cool. It's so sleek. It's like this almost weird cross between Tanche, the like Saber, and Rapid into this mega flipper that's just... It's just so awesome to look at. And again, like the Martian, it's only had a few fights, and unfortunately one of them drove him to the pit, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. That happens to anybody. Happened to John Reed, so don't put that against me.
Did he wait for a good pick?
That I don't know, because I am not versed in Chinese. So I cannot answer that, unfortunately, but I can say that...
You mean you're not? I thought we brought you on this podcast because you were!
I'm not bilingual, I'm sorry. But, like, I don't know, just for me, it's just the aesthetic's so cool, and just to see a proper, like, full-blown, full-tilt flipper in China like this is honestly astonishing. I mean, you know, the UK scene, you got flippers plenty there. I mean, you spit in the wind and you'll hit 4 or 5 grade A flippers. In America, you have, like, less, but you have, like, bots like Bronco and Hydra from experienced teams. But to see something like this from a new team is just phenomenal. And yeah, I guess that's about it for me.
Is that all you want to say?
Yeah, because I feel like I'm just rambling on about the same points too much.
Well, that's it. Okay, there's your time. So I'm opening up to the debate and hoping that really doesn't kill me.
The thing that makes me smile most is flicking through the wiki. Of course, I found myself on Saber X, the featherweight, as you said, page, and it's really weird going from looking at so many like unrecognizable names that I don't recognize because I'm not, you know, I don't follow the Chinese shows. A headache because their editing style is terrifying. Something the Metal Gear noise. But I've jumped onto the featherweight page and I'm just seeing loads of robots I recognise because of course it fought at the UK King of Bots tournament. So I'm seeing things like Blunt Force Trauma, I'm seeing things like Nelly the Ellibot, the featherweight, I'm seeing things like Spank and Broadaxe and Rocket, and it's making me really smile to see that this robot has you know, the featherweight version of this robot has fought some really, really tough competition over here in the UK because we've got a really fantastic featherweights. But I have to agree with a lot of your points. Like I fell in love with Saber Legend of Zelda-y Soul Calibur design, but the new version does just look so efficient, and it's nice to see that it's a bit more unique. Like, I don't mind so much when a robot is like a quote-unquote clone, unless it's really unoriginal. And I felt that, you know, when we first saw sort of original Saber 2, they had reminiscent parts of the robots that we sort of say they were clones of, but it wasn't quite to the level that we see some of the other robot clones. So I've got a lot of respect, both for the team and for the robot itself.
Yeah, I mean, Reira makes a good point in that they've done some things which are fairly similar, but they've made it their own, number one. And number two, they've then taken that experience that they've got from making perhaps more influenced robots, and they've turned it into something completely unique and something completely their own. And I applaud them for it.
Yeah, like, I don't know, it's just one of those things like where, I mean, keep in mind, like, I was crazy enough to spend hours upon hours replicating this thing in RA2. I have dedication to this thing. No one asked me to make this. I did it on my own accord because I love the robot that much.
Yeah, and the thing is that I think we're in that sort of state where we're hitting sort of personal opinions on robots, and I can't deny you that. But at the same time, I don't want to, because genuinely it's a fucking brilliant robot. I look forward to seeing more of it, because as we've said with the Martian and with this, There's not been much of them yet, but I think that's just an opportunity for us. Also, I love just more flip, please.
More flips blocks.
So far, the versions that have fought, it went out in KOB1, the Apollo version to Thunder and Lightning, the little red and blue cluster bot that made the top 4. And the only loss of the current iteration is against Iron Rooster, which is kind of a Gabriel-like design, which is very difficult for a flipper to fight in the first place. One thing I will say about the new version of Saber, though, is I am kind of worried about how durable it's going to be. The robot, the design seems certainly quite exposed, and it fought that vertical spinner whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. The Magic Windmill, it says on the wiki here, in the most recent episode of King of Bots 2, and it lost a wheel, and I'm slightly concerned for it because I can see it's got a lot of power and a lot of potential, and the design itself is really different and unique. But I'm worried that it's too exposed, and especially when you've got big crushers like Spectre and big spinners like 2Barbecue. It's worrying me that Saber won't go as far as perhaps the potential it has allows.
It's just going to be nice to this robot. I think it's got a lot of potential. It's got a lot of places to go. I just think it's got I'm really poorly wording this episode. To give our viewers some context, this is the 3rd episode we've recorded in a row after a very long day at work as well. So I apologise that I'm not my normal, wordy self. But I think that the point is sort of moot. It's very obvious that this robot is just superb, and it is a superb, funky little flipper.
Has anyone else got anything else to say?
All I will say is that I am very excited to see where this robot goes, but I am tentatively holding out on proclaiming it as the greatest flipper that China has ever seen. At least this version of it. The previous iterations have done really well. I'm just worried about that durability.
I can see that, but every robot has its downfall.
It does, and given that the rate at which China is accelerating in robot development, I mean, even looking at Battlebots and the way that Railgun Max has performed in the one fight that we've seen it in so far, their robots are coming ahead leaps and bounds. And if Saber continues on the trajectory that it's on, it might potentially have some weaknesses in this particular iteration. We'll see if that comes to pass or not as King of Bots continues. But going forward, I'm very excited to see where Saber goes.
Yeah, honestly, I'll take a long shot with Saber X because the thing is, it's an unproven design, and it's not like with the Martian where on just sheer insanity and creativity alone to carry it. I mean, it's creative, but still at the end of the day, it is a flipper driven by 4 wheels. We've seen that before. And I agree. I think the durability is going to be something that might be a big point of contention going forward. But I think a thing to go, I guess, a counter to your point, Oliver, is that teams can only learn how to improve their robots in the arena. You can't improve your bot just by testing and just talking about theoreticals. You have to go into the arena and take those hits and have the thing fail and then learn to go from there. And so I think it's more of just I am seeing what the future could hold for them. And I think that given what they've learned from their past 2 seasons, they'll take that into heart going forward.
That's very true.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Quick question. Does anybody know what gases they run in China? I think it's nitrogen. I don't think they run CO2, but does anybody know off the top of their head?
I think it's nitrogen because the way that Saber acts is a lot similar to UK flippers, and it has the same sort of gas expulsion.
Yeah, but UK runs CO2, doesn't it?
Oh wait, I'm dumb. I really don't know CO2 versus nitrogen here. I didn't pass chemistry, all right.
Because Tanshe is a huge robot, and I seem to remember something about nitrogen. I would actually like to know because I can't find anything.
I'm just going to have a quick gander on the wiki, see if I can find something.
Here we go. The weapon on Tanshe, the weapon was powered by nitrogen in season 1 and CO2 in 1.5.
Huh?
They banned nitrogen in the first series, and then they've allowed CO2 in the later series by the look of it. So Saber is a CO2 powered bot, which would which would make sense given the sort of the compact nature of the design. That's interesting. It's just the Americans who need to catch up now.
Listen. I know. Trust me. I know. I'm one of the only people that champions having a proper UK flipper here on BattleBots, because we almost got in season 1 with Chronic, but no. But I digress. I digress. Rant over.
Right, so are we ready to vote on this robot?
I think we are. I think we've done enough cheeky little segues.
I mean, you already know my stance. I'm gonna put it into the arena. It may be a bit preemptive, but considering the path where this bot is very bright, I can see nothing but good things for this team going forward, and I genuinely think there is strong potential for this robot to be eventually down the line a champion in King of Bots / TIFR.
I am gonna slam my fist down and go absolutely agree with every single point. There's not much more I can elaborate. I agree that I feel we're being a bit preemptive, and that does make me slightly hesitant. I think that I've placed my faith in this robot, which is something that I rarely do. So I don't like placing my faith in robots that I am on shaky terms with, but I feel like this one could fucking...
Well, it's going to the arena. Oliver, are you going to give it a perfect record or a 2-1?
Well, you see, this is the thing. As I've done in previous episodes, I have said that certain bots that need to show a little bit more promise before I'm willing to put them in the arena. And if we were just looking at the 2019 edition of Saber and the fights that it had in the opening battle and the first episode of the new season, I would say that it is preemptive and that it is too soon. But looking at the track record that the team has had so far with the first 2 versions in the first series and This Is Fighting Robots, they've got a really, really strong design, and they're taking it in a new and different direction that's not quite like any other flipper that we've seen. And because of their existing track record going forward into this robot, that gives me the faith to say that this should go in the arena.
Woo.
So that's a 3-0 victory to Saber X. Fantastic stuff. So, are we going to make another 3 for 3? Well, let's find out. We are going over to Oliver. What is your robot?
I am talking about Greedy Snake, which has competed since the first series of King of Bots, and I'm very excited.
Wonderful. Well, it's always good when you're excited about a robot. Are you ready?
I am ready, yes.
I'm ready! And I'm ready to activate this timer. There you go.
Right, so as I've said a few times tonight, I'm very excited at the way China has approached combat robotics and the way that their designs have panned out. And Greedy Snake is another one of those designs, especially in its King of Bots 1 and This Is Fighting Robots appearance with the claws and the overhead lifter. That's kind of not like any other major TV heavyweight that's around. It's doing something a little bit different, being a control bot, grabbing and throwing things around like a flipper, but also using it to great effect, using the hazards of the King of Bots arena, the screws, the pulverizers, or the Chinese versions of them, and it was quite a dominant little machine, and like I say, it did fairly well in the first series of King of Bots. It made the top 8, and it's only gone on to develop a little bit more since then. Their knockout in the first season was again to Thunder and Lightning, the little cluster bot that went so far and did so well in that first series, and it's got a fairly good win-loss record, including a win against Megabyte in its revised sort of front hinge flipper form from the opening battle this year. Their latest design, I'm yet to see succeed in quite the same way. They've lost against Emerald, the big axe bot. It looks a little weird. It's some kind of hinged wedgie lifter, but again, it's a different take that I can see having a lot of potential. And unfortunately, they had an issue in the arena. I'm not sure what happened, link or switch or something. It just died. But I'm looking forward to see where they take it, because they're just doing something different that nobody else is, and they're having a fair bit of success with it as well. I don't have a lot more to say. Like I say, their record against different robots, against Vulcan and I'm not sure how to pronounce it. The robot that came runner-up in King of Bots 1, the 4-wheel drive drum spinner.
Siake?
And that's the one. Just generally, they do really well. Most of the fights that they have with big, powerful robot, they seem to hold their own. And I'm just excited to see what they do and where they go from here. I don't really have much more to say, to be honest.
Is that everything you've got to say?
Yeah, I'll hand it over.
Right, well, you had 15 seconds left, so that was good timing. Right, well, final robot for today, and I'm opening it up to debate.
I love this robot's fight against Bench. One of my favourite Chinese show fight was Greedy Snake absolutely decimating the poor Brentwood School robot. I think Greedy Snake it's had some iterations, and the newest iteration I'm not confident on, I can't lie. But we have to take into account on ESC, when we bring a robot into the fray, if it's gone under the same name for that entire time, then we cover that robot under that name.
Yeah, I really like the original first two iterations of Greedy Snake. The lifter combo really remind me a lot of Complete Control, a bot that is quite dearly missed in Battlebots to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I really don't have much, I guess, to say to counter, because it was such a cool design. I really don't know what my opinion is on the newer version, where it's kind of going for a sort of Stinger, the Killer Bee, Sewer Snake type look. I think it looks cool, but at the same time, I really miss the grappler design because it was such a unique concept. I get why they went that route when you're in a very spinner-heavy meta, especially when two of the biggest robots in the competition, foreign robots in competition, are full-body spinners. I get why that's a meta you'd want to go down. I mean, it's a large part of the reason why bots, in America design themselves to be Tombstone.
So you're saying that the US bots have a Tombstone strategy, whereas the Chinese bots have a Megabyte strategy?
Yeah, exactly. And I'd certainly say that I don't think, now I want to get misconstrued and say I think it looks bad. I still think it looks pretty good. I still like the theme. I still like the design of it. And it still is doing something a little bit different, even though there's a robot in this current season of This Is Fighting Robots that looks kind of akin to it, I think. Not This Fighting Robots, King of Bots.
Are you thinking of the robot with the drill?
No, it's black and red. I don't do research at all. I am terrible. 0 out of 10.
There is a robot on this King of Bots with a drill, and it makes me so happy that we've got a heavyweight with a drill. I'm so excited for that robot fight. I think it's called Ground Dragon as well.
I do see your point, Charlie, about the redesign that they had, especially in the opening battle when it was very much a sort of front hinge flipper with big thick wedge. The latest one that they've got for season 2, it gives me hope. It certainly did well against the battle against Emerald, and I think if it had kept going, it probably would have won it.
You think that new design inspires you? I'm not confident on that.
I don't know.
I think that they've lost the element that made them greedy.
Yeah, I do miss the claws, but we have only seen it in one fight. It is possible that they might have some kind of claw attachment, but certainly the lifting wedge design that they had, we did quite well at hooking under opponents, and it has lost some of the charm for me. I will admit that, but the robot had me from the first series, and
it'd be like Blacksmith turning up to the 2020 series with a vert spinner. I feel like it's lost what it is.
And Bite Force.
I will just say, I know I'm impartial, and I am being impartial here. It's funny you mention Bite Force, because Greedy Snake gives me Bite Force vibes, and I'm not too sure why.
Really?
I think I'm looking more at the Series 1, Series 1.5, kind of with how the wedgelets are at the front.
Well, it's got a similar claw setup to the original Bite Force.
Yeah, but then instead of becoming a vertical spinner, it's become a front hinged flipper and plow. So it's like, I guess you could say in a way, Chinese Bite Force, but just not the spinner. I
think, as Charlie said, it's impossible to test something until you've got it in the arena. And again, they're doing something different. There's it's not really a kind of design, that sort of hinged wedge on a lifter that has been done before. And we will see how it goes. Time will tell us is if that robot design is gonna work for them. I would certainly like to see them go back to the grabbers that they've had in earlier series, because that really made for an entertaining fight. Pushing the robots around the arena, throwing them onto the hazards, and it was just a joy to watch. And we will see if the new one lives up to the hype going forward. I hope it does get some more fights. I'm not exactly sure on the format of the new season, but yeah, I think that really wraps up what I have to say about the robot.
Any other points?
Yeah, no, I think I'm kind of happy with it. Again, I'm not swayed on the new design, and that's going to be a major negative point for me. But at the same time, I'm willing to give it space to grow.
Well, I think if no one else has got any points, we'll go to the voting. We may as well start with you, Ray. What are you going to do, arena or the pit?
I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to stick to my gun. I feel that what they're doing is moving away from what made them Greedy Snake, and for that, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to put them in the pit. I feel like they'd be, they're doing the same as like what would happen if Tombstone turned up next year, basically La Machine. They're both brilliant robots in their own right, but when you've built this, legacy as a type of robot and you turn up with the same name specifically as a different robot, I think subverting it.
I mean, I will bring up Bite Force again. It's fair enough. You cast your vote, and I completely get where you're coming from. I will bring up Bite Force again, and I think if the new version can live up to the Greedy Snake legacy, then I don't see a problem. Such as Bite Force, the spinner version has lived up to the legacy of the control bot. It's a shame as it is as it changed the design, but it's now become one of the most dominant vertical spinners on the globe. It's too early on for me to judge the new Greedy Snake. The lifting wedge certainly could have some potential, but as you say, we judge the robots as a whole, and having 2 seasons of that grabbing lifting design, very, very entertaining. And although I don't like the design as much, the fight with Megabyte was equally a fun watch. And yeah, I bought the robot for a reason. When I selected it, I hadn't actually seen the Greedy Snake design when I selected it quite a few months ago for the latest season, but that doesn't change my mind. I still think that this robot's got such a legacy behind it that I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt on the new design and let it and see how it plays out. So I'm going to put this in the arena in the sky.
Oh joy! I have the duty of being the deciding vote. I see. Like, my thing is, I don't think it'd feel right putting it in the pit. I think I'll agree with Oliver and send it to the arena, but barely. If only because I still think that there's like a lot of good from this team out there, and I think that their design in time will definitely prove. I still wish they went back to the grappler design, but I mean, hey, it worked for Paul Ventimiglia to change over. It could surely work for them.
You make good points. So that's a 2-1 victory to Greedy Snake. I will just throw a robot, because we've mentioned Bite Force. But another robot I can think of who went through a radical kind of redesign is Wild Thing from Robot Wars. Of course, we had Thing, we had Wild Thing in Series 4, 5, and Extreme, and then in Series 6, we had Wild Thing 2, which was completely different. And dare I say it, as impartial as I am, I really didn't like the Series 6 version. I thought it took away everything that was really nice and unique about Wild Thing. So it's interesting.
It's definitely a risky decision, and like I say, time will tell, because they've had one fight. We may get a few months down the line after King of Bots 2 has aired, and my opinion will have changed. But like I said, for me, there's enough goodwill from those first 2 seasons and that design that they bought and created and entertained so much with, that I think just based on that, it deserves to ascend.
And that's fair. I mean, like, of course, with Wild Thing, that's in the past. With Greedy Snake, that's in the present and now. So we're still seeing what's going on. We've been talking several times about robots that are in the present and how our decisions on them could change. We could revisit them in a future episode. I think might be one of the ones that we could revisit depending how things go. But anyway, to recap, it's been a rather exciting episode. We have 3 victories. We started off with Martian. It's so cute, going 3-0.
It is the cutest.
It is the cutest little thing, and I love it. I cherish it, and I'm going to protect it with all my life. We have Saber X, which also joined the Martian Arena 3-0, and Greedy Snake slithering on in at 2-1. So I would say that's it, but let's plug ourselves on social media. You can find me on New York Corp at YouTube and Twitch. Instagram art page might be up by now because this is several weeks into the future. But hey, I don't know yet. I'll probably put something on the screen if it's changed. Yeah, and that's goodbye from me.
Yeah, and you can find me at the usual places. So you can find me lazing around on Shuntposting as your Empress/moderator. You can find me on Team Roll Initiative, both on Instagram and on Facebook, and you can find me on Reira the Bard on Instagram, which is where I do sort of all stuff. Feel free to come.
Charlie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. You can follow Good Robottal on YouTube. Don't, it's dead. Actually, I'm just kidding. Yeah, please subscribe. There'll be new stuff coming along eventually, I promise. But the 2 main ones are going to be Facebook, Instagram, also at Good Robottal. I did make a new Instagram for Good Robottal because I got locked out of the old one. Lol.
Follow it, it's good.
But Facebook's the main one. I post updates of the Battlebots pack as I make them. My most recent finished build is a new Mammoth with Texas Twister, Uppercut, and Wanhu on the way.
I say by the point this episode airs, I imagine you'll have done like 5 or 6 more as well.
Oh, I don't even know where I'm going to be by the time this episode airs. I might, depending on how fast I am, I might be able to get to the top 16 because I don't have much left after that. But yeah, follow Good Robottal on there, and hopefully around winter you'll get a link for the Battlebots pack. Pretty excited about it. Hope y'all enjoy.
Yes. And then I'll finish off. As usual, we have the ESC Facebook page, all the behind the scenes stuff, all of your announcements and upcoming promos, and just generally where to stay up to date with all your ESC news can be found there. And equally, I have my own Facebook page, Team Mott and Bailey. Exciting stuff. Finishing my Beetle off, and yeah, I recommend you go and have a nose. Of course I do. It's my stuff. You might enjoy it. But I do just want to say thanks, Charlie, for coming on. You've been great.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me on. This has been fantastic. I certainly hope to be back on.
Thank you, Charlie.
I certainly hope to be back on at some point. This has been a load of fun, even though I have that absolutely hateful, spiteful man, Mitchell, constantly berate me throughout the podcast for no reason, accusing me of things I have not committed, slandering my good name.
And I just want to remind everyone, like I said on the live stream, which now is probably weeks and weeks back and everyone's probably forgotten, that Charlie does the good Robottal. All the other people do the bad Robottal.
Dear. I've not even slandered you most of this podcast. What's wrong with you? I did a bit, but not much.
Most of the podcast.
No, it isn't. Nice.
A large portion of said podcast.
No, like a third of it. A third. That was it.
We at ESC can neither confirm nor deny whether or not Mitchell will be back for the next episode.
Wow. Okay.
Put it to the audience vote.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you do that, you won't have an editor.
Oh yeah, good point.
Oh yes, I hold power, infinite power.
Also, he's making the logo for my team /
Oh
robot,
yes,
so
yes, of course.
kind of need to be nice to Mitch.
No, I might not do it now. I might find someone else to give me a better pay. You slave driver!
You haven't even told me how much you fucking want for it yet.
I don't even know yet, to be honest.
$1 million.
Right. Anyway, this is going into personal conversation.
Yeah. Right. Right. They're all horrible people, and they bully me. Help. Anyway, this has been ESC. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next 2 weeks when we discuss some more robots. That is all. Goodbye.
I hope we discuss robots.
Yeah, of course we're going to discuss robots.
We might put a guest instead. Bye.